Hi guys, this is Ben from BensRPGPile, and today we're going to show you our interpretation of the Proving Grounds, which is a particular room inside the Thunderspire Labyrinth's Well of Demons. Okay guys, this is the poster map that comes with the module for the Proving Grounds. I love the maps, they save you a lot of time. If I have one beef with them, it's just that sometimes the rooms are too small. And if I'm having battles with a party of 6, like in our monthly group, I just need more space so that the battles are a little bit more entertaining and it just doesn't become a logjam. So what I'll often do is I'll create some rooms, I'll lay the map down, and then if they go into a certain room, I'll then bring out the Herstart's terrain to have them go into that spot. Okay, and we're going to show you how to do that today. Two rooms in particular that we're going to talk about. One is the Chamber of Pools, which is down here in the corner, and the other one is the Sacrificial Cells. That's right up here. Okay, so I made those two rooms, and then when they walked into those spots, I just placed them on our main game table. So we're going to show you how we did that and how you can kind of get, you know, a combo thing going with your map. So you see on the map that this is the Chamber of Pools right here. See, we got 4 different pools, and you know, I haven't really experimented with water yet, so I thought this would be a great opportunity to really jump right in there and see what I could do. So I decided to make this room on the playmat come to life via Herstart's and some of the other terrain materials that I have. So I'm going to intermix this with pictures so you guys will get a nice feel here for what we did. Okay, so this is pretty much the room we made. So if they went around the map and into the Chamber of Pools, this is what they would see. Okay, and I think that I'm just going to put these doors down so you can kind of see. But so this is kind of what it looked like, right? We had a green pool, we had a red one, we had a yellow one, and we had a blue one. Okay, and the party could get some effects here, good or bad, based on what they did in this room and if they had the guts to drink the stuff. But I tried to make the pools so that they fit in the environment a little bit. So I'm just going to hold this up here. So in the yellow, right, again, trying to put a lot of bricks around it, moss and flock to kind of get it to rise up from the game board. So that's our yellow one. On the blue one here, same thing. Now, funny thing, sometimes that material, I use realistic water right there from... you can get that online, but sometimes it bubbles up, so I had some bubbles on this one, so I just put some moss over where that happened, and it became a little floating moss kind of thing to kind of hide my mistake, right? We had our green one, that's right here. Nothing fancy, just a straight old pool. And then don't be afraid to experiment with the size of a pool, right? So in this red one, I made it just really tiny, right, like so, okay?
Here are the things that make me nervous. Here are the things that stick in my craw. Here are the things that make me nervous. Nervous.
So here is the Sacrificial Cells and how we kind of set that room up, right? Much bigger, and remember, a module is always a guide. At least that's how we treat it. We try not to take it too literal, and so we'll show you how we kind of touched up this room to make it our own and to kind of heighten the excitement. Okay, so basically the first thing was skeletons were very key. So you're going to see skeletons right there. You're going to see them spread all through the room, right? They're in the cells, right? They're on the floor back there. You see them over here. And so I put skeletons on the floor to show, you know, like, hey, a lot of people had been tortured and beat up here, but no one's in the room. So from there, as soon as the items, 4 items were placed in the circles, we pretty much had the skeletons come to life, like all the bones snapped to in certain spots. They could have been spread all out, and they formed all the monsters. So for me, a big thing here was what I call mini diversity, right? I don't like to use a lot of the same minis because there's so many great ones to choose from, and it's a little bit easier to differentiate them on the battlefield. So like, for example, in this big cell right here, notice that big skull there? He was actually down in here, but when the thing went off, I put in this guy, right? And Minotaurs are a big theme in Thunderspire Labyrinth. I had him kind of rise up in that oversized cell, okay? The barrel, you see that barrel there? This is where I kind of use the environment with the mini. So this skeleton, these bones disappeared, and I put this Mage Knight guy in there, and he grabbed that barrel and then kind of did a little suicide explode around the party kind of move. So that's where I got him. Then I grabbed some Warhammer skeletons, and I had them pop out of out of this cell, right, like so. And then I even used a Reaper mini in some cases. Like there's a really spooky spot right there, so I had a Reaper mini come out of there. So this is where, and then like another added touch, I had some coffins from one of the Hearst Arts mold. I had those in the corner, like they were freshly made, and were just piled high to toss all the bodies in, just to kind of help creep everybody out. There's a portcullis in here. That's the classic portcullis from Dwarven Forge. Beautiful. So I use that, and then also there were a lot of chains. If you look at the map there, see all the chains? That's how it is on the poster map. I have made these in the past, and they have a little chain hanging off of them, and I place those throughout the dungeon just to kind of creep everybody out and add some effect there.
I don't want to run the risk of offending you. I'm a gentleman, at least I'm pretending to be. Real civilized, polite, and appealing. But I've got to find a more delicate way, babe, to tell you how I'm feeling.
Another thing about the module was it was supposed to be protected by a green dragon, and we love all miniatures here at BensRPGPile, but the green dragon, it's just not very imposing, and it's kind of dinky. So this is what one of them kind of looks like, right? And one's okay. I don't really like that one. So you have the right as a DM to change things up. So we went with a black dragon, like so, just because of the wingspan and the face and the curves on the mini and the hands, right? That dude's badass. So we thought he was much more imposing. Now to get him to fly, we got creative as well, and what we did was we used this is Dr. Wizard's patented elevation indicator. I got this at Gen Con a long time ago. What's cool about this is they have these little pieces, and you can actually add them on. See, look at that. So you get this flush, like so, right? And then you can just drop your mini on there, and now it gives the illusion of flight. So that looks much cooler, and again, you're getting some depth on the board, and so we use that to kind of help indicate how the dragon was flying around the well of demons around the proving grounds. So in the module there are these traps, like I mentioned earlier, and one of my all-time favorites was it was called the Doom Sphere, and basically this thing flew around the inner track of the proving grounds right here. It would go around this track, and if you got in its way, it would just roll over you and do some heavy damage. And it moved. It has speed 12, so it really flew around. So I don't really have too many Doom Sphere minis, so I decided to muster up some courage and try to make one from scratch, just to make it more exciting for the group. So let me show you how I did that. Okay, so I used 4 things really to make my Spear of Doom. I went and bought some styrofoam balls here from Michael's. I think a huge pack of like 20 of them cost me like $3. Okay, so I grabbed some of those. I used for a base, I used a something from Gale Force 9. These are the kind of their bargain bases. I love these. I try not to spend too much cash on bases, and I think I can get creative with these. So I use this for the base. I painted my styrofoam black, give it that kind of dark sphere kind of feel, and I use a couple coats on that to do that. And then I glued it down with some, what should be in everybody's collection, some tacky glue. So you kind of do all those things, and you end up with the Sphere of Doom. Look at that. Right? That looks imposing. And the kind of like the little sparkly thing was kind of cool because it was supposed to have some energy spikes in it. And I thought about using some toothpicks and having those in there, but I was concerned that they would be uneven and it might look a little too dorky. And I didn't want to go over the top. Simplicity is usually better in anything you're creating. So I tried to keep it low-key, but I painted my base black, painted the styrofoam black. The glittery thing kind of helped to show some of those energy shards potentially. And I had this move through the hallway, right? And it takes up 4 squares just like it's supposed to. And I had this move down the hallway to scare the crap out of the adventurers. Another room in the Proving Grounds was called the Statue Gallery. And this, remember, the Proving Grounds is just covered in traps. And because the party has to be split, which goes against never split the party, you had to have a certain, you had to have a character by each circle, and there's a blue circle right there, in order to drop the items that they had collected simultaneously to kind of move through the adventure. So in this particular room with the Statue Gallery, they had crossbow turrets drop from the ceiling. A couple nice choices, right? There's one of that's one of a Wizard of the Coast turrets, and this is actually a Warhammer turret right there. How cool is that? Pre-painted by someone at Gamers Inn, and snatch that up for like $10. Well worth it. But they needed to come from the ceiling. So you heard us talk about that you could use the stick like so, you know, and then now that's dropped from the ceiling. But here's a real cheap, inexpensive way, and I've seen this done at Gen Con a lot. You know the thing you buy your dice in, the little container? Well, you can actually just use the main piece of that, like so, and then you can just put the miniature on top of that. See? And now it's like, hey, that just came from the ceiling. So when you put your miniature down, who's in the room, see, there's that illusion of height. So it doesn't get much cheaper than that. You've already made the purchase to get some dice since your previous dice screwed you over. So that's a great way to use kind of the dice container. So there you have it, guys. That's how you can kind of take a kind of a flat poster map that comes in your module and build out a couple of the rooms to add some excitement to your game. The Proving Grounds was very difficult, and it really had me stumped for a while, but you know, you just kind of keep thinking it through and thinking of ways to liven up your game, and you get creative and some good things happen. So I hope you enjoyed our interpretation of the Proving Grounds. Hey, be sure to catch us out on our weekly video podcast. You'll see how we played this map and how the players reacted to all the fun things that I built. You can certainly catch us on our weekly blog over at BensRPGPile.com. Don't be afraid to say hey to me on Twitter. I love talking RPG with you guys at twitter.com/BensRPGPile. You can grab our weekly video podcast on iTunes. And until next time, see you guys.